United States history. Around 1900 AD. Part 3. Connecticut. 1950 to 1952. About 52,000 Connecticut men served in the Korean War. New Jersey. 1951. New Jersey Turnpike opens. North Dakota. 1951. Oil discovered near Tioga, Williston Basin. Vermont. 1952. John Dewey, philosopher and education reformer, born in Burlington, passes away. Louisiana. 1953. Baton Rouge bus boycott predated Montgomery boycott. Ohio. 1953. Ohio buckeye became the state tree. Connecticut. 1954. The USS Nautilus, the world's first nuclear-powered submarine, was launched at Groton. Hawaii. 1954. Democratic Revolution. John A. Burns leads Democrats to power, ending Big Five oligarchy control. Kansas. 1954. Brown versus Board of Education, Topeka, ended school segregation. Kentucky. 1954. Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali, begins boxing in Louisville. Rhode Island. 1954. Providence became the sole capital, previously rotating among 5 cities. South Carolina. 1954. Despite Brown versus Board of Education, South Carolina resists school desegregation until 1963. Tennessee. 1954. Clinton High School becomes first Southern public school to desegregate. District of Columbia. 1954. Balling versus Sharp, Supreme Court case desegregates D.C. schools. Mississippi. 1954 to 1965. The civil rights movement intensifies. Alabama. December 1, 1955. Rosa Parks arrested in Montgomery. Alabama. December 5, 1955. Montgomery bus boycott began, led by Martin Luther King Jr. California. 1955. Disneyland opened in Anaheim, revolutionizing entertainment. Connecticut. 1955. Serious floods caused heavy damage. Idaho. 1955. Arco becomes first U.S. city powered by nuclear energy. Mississippi. 1955. Emmett Till's murder. Alabama. November 13, 1956. Supreme Court ruled bus segregation unconstitutional. Alabama. 1956. Autherine Lucy admitted then expelled from University of Alabama. Arkansas. 1957. The Little Rock 9 integrated Central High School, escorted by federal troops after Governor Orville Faubus resisted. Indiana. 1957. Peony becomes state flower. Louisiana. 1957. Hurricane Audrey killed 526 in Louisiana and Texas. Michigan. 1957. Mackinac Bridge opens, connecting the upper and lower peninsulas. South Dakota. 1957. Laura Ingalls Wilder, author of Little House on the Prairie, based on DeSmet homesteading, passes away. Alaska. 1958. Elizabeth Peratrovich, civil rights leader for Alaska Natives, passes away. Colorado. 1958. The U.S. Air Force Academy opens in Colorado Springs. Alaska. January 3, 1959. Alaska becomes the 49th U.S. state under President Dwight D. Eisenhower. Hawaii. August 21, 1959. Hawaii becomes the 50th U.S. state under President Eisenhower. Michigan. 1959. Berry Gordy founded Motown Records. North Carolina. 1959. Research Triangle Park opens, fueling tech and pharmaceutical growth. North Dakota. 1959. William Langer, controversial governor and senator, passes away. Florida. 1959 to 1980. Waves of Cuban exiles arrive after Fidel Castro's rise, reshaping Miami's culture and economy. Iowa. 1950s. Interstate highways, e.g., I-80, improved transportation, linking rural and urban areas. Montana. 1950s. Oil and coal boomed. Nevada. 1950s. Las Vegas Strip boomed with casinos like the Flamingo, built by mobster Bugsy Siegel. Nevada. 1950s. Nuclear testing began at the Nevada test site. Pennsylvania. 1950s. Jonas Salk developed the polio vaccine at the University of Pittsburgh. Virginia. 1950s. Massive resistance to school integration. Arizona. 1950s to 1960s. Phoenix's population boomed due to air conditioning and retiree migration. Georgia. 1950s to 1960s. Civil rights movement. Martin Luther King Jr., Atlanta native, leads protests. Maryland. 1950s to 1960s. Chesapeake Bay pollution spurred environmental laws. The state became a leader in biotechnology and education. Utah. 1950s to 1960s. Defense and aerospace industries grew, with Thiokol, later ATK, Alliant Tech Systems Incorporated, producing rocket boosters. West Virginia. 1950s to 1960s. Coal declined. Interstate highways, e.g., I-64, I-77, improved connectivity. Wyoming. 1950s to 1970s. Energy booms, oil, uranium, coal, drive economic growth, but cycles of bust follow. Louisiana. 1960. New Orleans schools began desegregation amid protests. Mississippi. 1960. Richard Wright, American writer, passes away. North Carolina. 1960. The Greensboro sit-ins spark nationwide civil rights protests. Tennessee. 1960. Nashville sit-ins advance civil rights movement. Hawaii. 1961. First jetliners land in Hawaii, boosting tourism. Massachusetts. 1961. John F. Kennedy becomes first Massachusetts-born U.S. president. Montana. 1961. Gary Cooper, actor, passes away. New Hampshire. 1961. Alan Shepard, Derry native, becomes the first American in space. Arkansas. 1962. Sam Walton opened the first Walmart in Rogers, revolutionizing retail. Mississippi. 1962. James Meredith integrates the University of Mississippi. Mississippi. 1962. William Faulkner, American writer, passes away. Washington. 1962. Seattle hosts the World's Fair, Space Needle built. Alabama. April to May 1963. Birmingham campaign with children's marches and police brutality. Alabama. June 1963. Governor George Wallace's stand in the schoolhouse door at University of Alabama. Alabama. September 1963. Birmingham church bombing killed 4 girls. Illinois. 1963. Michael Jordan, Chicago Bulls legend, global sports icon, was born. Massachusetts. 1963. W.E.B. Du Bois, NAACP, National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, co-founder, passes away. Mississippi. 1963. Medgar Evers, NAACP, National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, leader, assassinated. South Carolina. 1963. The Jail, No Bail movement begins in Rock Hill, a pivotal civil rights campaign. Texas. 1963. John F. Kennedy assassinated in Dallas. District of Columbia. 1963. March on Washington, Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech at Lincoln Memorial. Texas. 1963 to 1969. Lyndon B. Johnson, U.S. President from Texas. Alaska. March 27, 1964. Good Friday earthquake. 9.2 magnitude earthquake, largest in U.S. history, devastates Anchorage and other areas, killing 131 people. Mississippi. 1964. Freedom Summer. Activists like Fannie Lou Hamer fight for voting rights. Alabama. March 7, 1965. Bloody Sunday attack on Selma marchers. Alabama. March 21 to 25, 1965. Successful Selma to Montgomery March. Alabama. August 1965. Voting Rights Act passed. California. 1965. The Watts riots highlighted racial inequality in Los Angeles. Missouri. 1965. The Gateway Arch was completed, symbolizing westward expansion. Massachusetts. And Nebraska. 1965. Malcolm X, civil rights leader, born in Omaha, assassinated. Florida. 1966. Walt Disney, theme park pioneer, passes away. Kentucky. 1966. Kentucky passes the first statewide Civil Rights Act in the South. Kansas. 1967. Langston Hughes, poet from Lawrence, Harlem Renaissance leader, passes away. Illinois. 1967. Carl Sandburg, Pulitzer-winning poet and Lincoln biographer, passes away. Michigan. 1967. Detroit riots. Racial tensions erupt, leaving 43 dead. New Jersey. 1967. Newark riots. New Mexico. 1967. Reyes Tijerina led armed raid on Rio Arriba County Courthouse. North Carolina. 1967. John Coltrane, jazz musician, passes away. Oregon. 1967. The Beach Bill ensures public coastal access. Alaska. 1968. Prudhoe Bay oil field discovered, largest in North America. Alaska. 1968. Bob Bartlett, Alaska statehood advocate, passes away. Hawaii. 1968. Duke Kahanamoku, Olympic swimmer, father of surfing, passes away. Illinois. 1968. Democratic National Convention protests highlight civil rights and anti-war movements. Minnesota. 1968. The American Indian Movement, AIM, is founded in Minneapolis to advocate for indigenous rights. Tennessee. 1968. Martin Luther King Jr. assassinated in Memphis. District of Columbia. 1968. D.C. riots devastate U Street and Shaw. West Virginia. 1968. Mary Lou Retton, Olympic gold medalist gymnast, was born. Tennessee. 1968. Tennessee adopts first state song, Tennessee Waltz. Vermont. 1968. Vermont bans billboards to preserve scenic beauty. Washington. 1968. North Cascades National Park was established. Delaware. 1969. The Delaware Memorial Bridge's second span opened, connecting to New Jersey. Kansas. 1969. Dwight D. Eisenhower, born in Abilene, 34th U.S. President, passes away. New York. 1969. Stonewall uprising in Greenwich Village sparks the modern LGBTQ+ rights movement. Alabama. 1960s. NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center established in Huntsville. Connecticut. 1960s. Urban renewal programs attempted to revitalize cities. Iowa. 1960s. The University of Iowa became a center for civil rights activism and academic expansion. Kansas. 1960s. Interstate highways, I-70, boosted commerce. New Mexico. 1960s. Reyes Tijerina led land grant movement. Hawaii. 1960s to 1970s. Tourism boom and Hawaiian Renaissance. Mississippi. 1960s to 1970s. The Great Migration sees many Black Mississippians move north. The state's economy shifts toward manufacturing and agriculture. Texas. 1960s to 1970s. Civil rights movements ended segregation. Ohio. 1970. Kent State shootings. National Guard kills 4 anti-war protesters. West Virginia. 1970. Marshall University plane crash killed 75 football players and staff. Wisconsin. 1970. Senator Gaylord Nelson founds Earth Day, cementing Wisconsin's environmental leadership. Alaska. 1971. Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act, ANCSA, settles indigenous land claims, transfers 44 million acres and $962.5 million to Native corporations. Florida. 1971. Walt Disney World opens, catalyzing Central Florida's tourism industry. Oregon. 1971. Oregon passes the bottle bill, pioneering recycling. Utah. 1971. Phil T. Farnsworth, inventor of television, born in Beaver, passes away. Washington. 1971. Starbucks, global coffee chain, starts in Seattle. Idaho. 1972. Ezra Pound, poet, born in Haley, passes away. Montana. 1972. New state constitution, streamlined government. Nebraska. 1972. Birthplace of Arbor Day, declared national holiday. New Mexico. 1972. Balloonist Ben Abruzzo, 1930 to 1985, launched first Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta with 19 balloons, now 600 plus annually. Illinois. 1973. Sears Tower, now Willis Tower, becomes world's tallest building. Montana. 1973. Jeanette Rankin, American politician and women's rights advocate who became the first woman to hold federal office in the United States, passes away. New Mexico. 1973 to 2009. Senator Pete Domenici served 6 terms, longest in New Mexico history. South Dakota. 1973. Wounded Knee Occupation, American Indian Movement, AAM, protested federal policies, 71-day standoff. Utah. 1973, Maud Fitch, early women's rights advocate, passes away. West Virginia. 1973, Pearl S. Buck, Nobel Prize-winning author, The Good Earth, passes away. District of Columbia. 1973, Home Rule Act grants D.C. an elected mayor and council, but Congress retains veto power. Alaska. 1974, Ernest Gruening, Alaska statehood advocate, passes away. Connecticut. 1974, Ella T. Grasso became Connecticut's first female governor and the first woman elected governor in her own right in the U.S. Iowa. 1974, the 1974 Rural America stamp highlighted cultural heritage. Michigan. 1974, Gerald Ford, from Grand Rapids, becomes U.S. President. District of Columbia. 1974, Marion Barry first elected to D.C. Council.